Good morning, everybody. This is Michael Losier, and welcome to the daily inspirational Law of Attraction and NLP calls with myself, that's Michael Losier, and the lovely and talented Linda Story, who's going to join us in a few minutes. I'm really excited that you're here. This is probably the first time that Linda and I have been teaching these NLP and LOA-related stuff together, although we've been practicing it, known it for such a long time. So, cat's out of the bag. Hope you're having lots of fun. This is class number 2, and I just want to remind everybody the purpose of this class is to inspire you and uplift you and educate you. And so when you leave this call, you're leaving with a much higher vibration, plus tools to keep yourself tuned up and turned on all day. Would that be okay if you got that in the next 15, 20 minutes?
Yes. Yes.
Very good. So today we're going to go bring our guest on right away, Linda Story. She is the one that's responsible for introducing me to everything that's new and groovy. And it's like, oh, you haven't heard about that? Good. We're going to try that out. And it has just been an absolute delight in my life. Everybody should have a Linda Story in their life, and I'm glad that I do. You can have a part of her easily. Okay, if you think that noise might be coming from your phone, you can just press *6. Okay, and we're going to bring Linda on in a second. And her website address is Lindarella Coaching, almost like Cinderella. It's LINDERELLA coaching.com, LindarellaCoaching.com. And let's bring Linda on. Linda, welcome back, and I'm glad that you're here today. Let's get your module set up for today. We're doing the expedited version, so people are here and eager to learn. So welcome back.
Hi, Michael. I'm really happy to be back, and thank you. I received a few emails from people, too, with some questions about their style, so that was great. And I think there's one that I haven't finished replying to yet, so just bear with me when I'll do that later.
Okay.
Okay, so yesterday we talked about the visual style, which, of course, as far as Michael's concerned, is probably the best. And,
I just want to do a quick check, Linda. Are you guys hearing a little bit of an echo as well?
Not really.
Okay,
Not really.
Good. Okay, good.
Okay. So yesterday we talked about keywords and listened to a few stories and some affirmations about the visual style and the auditory style. And we're going to do the same thing today with the kinesthetic style and auditory digital. So I'd just like to hear from a few people that may have discovered that, first of all, you are processing information in the first position.
You are now muted.
Yes, Shirley.
Shirley?
Shirley, I'm kinesthetic/auditory.
Okay. And
Phyllis?
did I hear Phyllis?
I'm kinesthetic, and then close behind is visual.
Okay, great. Thanks, Phyllis. Anyone else?
Becky, kinesthetic, and then visual and auditory digital were equal.
Okay. And one more? We got one more kinesthetic?
Carol is also kinesthetic.
Sarah?
Carol.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Carol. I can't hear very well. Okay, so we've got at least 4 on the line, and possibly more. And I'm sure people that will be listening, there will be more kinesthetics there, too. So I just want to explain what kinesthetic means. It's all about the feeling.
You are no longer muted.
We use all 4 styles.
Yeah, excuse me, Linda. I can hear an echo.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and I need to get that cleaned up.
Okay.
I'm going to ask everybody to put *6 on their phone, and just state your first name. And if I hear it, that means you're not on mute. Just state your first name.
Joyce.
Joyce, we can get you to press *6. Anybody else? Okay, Linda, are you still with us?
I am.
Okay, so let's you and I just have a conversation. We're going to test for an echo.
Okay. Yeah, she was waiting for me to say something, and I'm waiting for you to say something.
So just count to 5, kind of out loud.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is the echo still there? Is the echo gone?
Is the echo gone? Is the echo gone? Is the echo gone? I think it's gone. Somebody pop back on and tell us. *6 and tell us.
Slight hint of an echo.
Yeah, there's a slight hint of an echo. So I'm going to go on mute as well in case it's me. And so everybody else stay on mute. And Linda, I just want to make sure that we have a really quality product. So I'm going to just get you to teach today without participation.
Okay. Okay.
Would that be okay? Kind of shift gears a little bit? Okay.
Sure, no problem.
Okay, I'm going to put myself on mute so we have a good call.
Okay.
You are now muted.
Interactive call right now. And for me being kinesthetic, that's going to be, a little bit of a, not a challenge, but not exactly how kinesthetics would like it to be. So kinesthetic is all about feeling, and some of the key words are feel, which is a really common one, touch, comfortable, relationship. They often will talk about whether or not they've caught on to something. They like to play and have fun, so those are some key words. They like to
You are no longer muted.
anniversary, 20 years, my husband and I were married, and he wanted to know, what would I like to do, and I thought it doesn't really matter, just as long as we're together. That's so kinesthetic.
It is. And you know what? You're so kinesthetic, Rita. I had to come back and keep you company. I felt bad for you, and I thought, she's got no friends. Nobody can talk to her. So I'm going to stay so you stay connected, okay? Because I know that's important to you.
Thank you, Michael.
Does that feel
I love
better?
that. Yeah, that feels a lot better.
There. Okay, great.
Yeah.
You see, that's how you please the kinesthetic.
Yeah, you're getting to see kinesthetics in action right now.
Yeah.
I'd much rather talk to somebody else on the line than in the airspace.
Yeah.
The kinesthetics are also really great team players.
You are now muted.
Are really important to them. And at the same time, they can become emotional sponges. That's what I call us, because we can take on the emotions of other people and want to fix them. And that's not always in anybody's best interest. You can, I just got a couple funny stories about kinesthetics. When I did my NLP training, and
You are no longer muted.
Especially if the training goes on and you start to, build relationships with people. But you can quite often identify the kinesthetics because they'll be the ones that they'll have a tote bag, a briefcase, or a backpack, and it will have all of their comfort items in there, like their water bottle.
And a thermos of coffee.
Yeah, a scarf in case they get chilly. And they often will take up more than one chair. They might have a chair beside them to put all their books on, and then another chair in front of them to put their feet on. So they're nesting. So they like to make themselves comfortable wherever they go. Remember that time, Michael, you and I went to a movie, and it took me about 3 minutes to get settled in my seat?
It's like, hello, and you were fluffing it up like a bird in a nest. And you just would not stop. And, of course, the visuals were so done with you at that point.
Yeah. Well, it was winter, and I had a big, bulky winter coat. And, of course, I don't want to sit on the arms and the seams. But you know what? Once I got
The
settled,
conference is in lecture mode.
Once I was settled, I stayed still. Now, the visual beside me, he was turning and tossing and wrestling and with his feet. And, Michael, you were wiggling a lot because it was a 3-hour movie. I don't know how.
Oh, how did you get me to a 3-hour movie?
I don't know. And I have a kinesthetic friend who recently had lunch with 2 of her friends. And she said that her friends were mainly talking to each other, rarely looking at her. She felt as though they were leaving her out of the conversation. And then she found herself withdrawing, and she didn't like how she was feeling at all. So, again, that wanting to be included.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just give you, and also when kinesthetic children, for example, are going to school, they often will feel or be told by teachers that they are slower, that they could be doing better than they are. And what that's all about is that they just need some time to process the information. They go into the feeling place as they're learning. So if you have someone kinesthetic and auditory digital in your life, give them both time to process. It's really important. They often get cut off in conversations because people think they're finished saying something because they're either feeling it through or thinking about it.
Yes.
So
I know my experience with kinesthetic people in teleclasses or kinesthetic people at my seminars. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, great. They're not quick enough to answer the questions before the visuals do, because the visuals just sit in the front row, so they tend to answer lots of questions. So when I say things like, "I'd like to hear from somebody we haven't heard from," it's usually a kinesthetic person because they have to process the answer, which takes more time than the quick visuals in the front row.
Yeah.
So when I allow more time for them to get an answer, then the kinesthetics by the time they get the feeling of the answer, then I can take the question.
That's right.
Yeah.
I actually had a coaching client, and she, or a coach in a teleclass, and she was going to end her coaching relationship with her client because she didn't think she was following through with her ideas and the deadlines and all that sort of thing. And then she realized she was kinesthetic, and this coach was not giving her the time and was giving her too many choices. She was just overwhelming her with too many ideas. So who knows, the coach might have been auditory. So anyways, she had great insight, and funny enough, that client called her the very next day, wanted to start up again, and she was going to do it with a whole different approach. So that really saved her relationship with the client. So that was great. Okay, I'll give you 3 affirmations here around kinesthetic, and as we talked about yesterday, you can just take out the one word and put in another word. So take out the feeling word and put in the hearing word or something, and they can all be used for all 4 styles. So here's one. I love how it feels when I'm aligned with source energy and my higher self. So that would bring that sense of connection.
Oh, that's so kinesthetic.
Isn't it?
Oh!
To it at all, right?
So huggy and kissy and feely.
Yeah.
I always joked about Linda when, kinesthetics, when they end an email, it takes them forever. Hugs and kisses and smiley faces. It's like, okay, we're done. And I would say, see you.
My emails to you are pretty brief, Michael.
Well, you always say that. You say, I'll keep it brief. I think you even tell me in the heading. Contains less than 30 words. Read this.
He's pulling my leg here.
I know.
Here's another one. I'm in the process of connecting. We love that word, kinesthetic, connecting to my natural state of abundance and joy.
That is delightful, Linda. That really is.
And I got one more. The universe is generous, and together we are a magical team.
I love that.
I so glad I'm entertaining you.
That's making me laugh because I would never say that.
I know you wouldn't.
Just so everybody knows, I'm kinesthetic laugh, so these sentences are so foreign to me. I have to laugh at them.
Well, before we end the call, Michael, we'll go back on. Ask the kinesthetics how they related to it, okay?
Are we allowed to have fun? We're having an awful lot of fun. Go ahead.
We are having fun. I love that. Okay. So I'm looking at the clock. We're going to move on to the auditory digital part, right?
I know, because you know what? They'll break sequence with them. We don't want to break sequence.
Yeah, we're not following the orders here, and that's okay. So first of all, some people might not know what auditory digital means.
Oh, just
and
wait.
The auditory part.
Just wait. Are we complete with the kinesthetics?
Yes.
Oh, I don't think we said that. We should really wind them down nice and gently.
Okay, sorry,
let's
kinesthetic.
we call it a wind down. Let's do a kinesthetic wind down.
Yeah, we're winding down.
Yes, we had so much. I'm glad we had this time together. Good. You can take more notes. Good. Stay with us. There we go. Okay, go ahead. New subject.
Okay, new subject is auditory digital. And the auditory part is very similar to the other auditory, meaning that the sound and tone and the words are really important. The digital part is what it means is being very, very specific. So it's, when you look at if you've got a watch that's got a second hand, that's an analog timepiece, you can look at it and say, oh, it's around 10 after so-and-so. If you've got a digital watch or clock, it's very, very precise. So the digital part here is meaning that the auditory digital style, the meaning of a word, the specific meaning of a word is really, really important. They can actually have arguments and wars over the meaning of a word. So here's some of the key words for auditory digital. think. So they're very much into, this is the style that we use very much in the thinking mode, logic, rational, sequence. They often will use this term, they want to know if something makes sense. So a lot of times when I've been in different lectures or conferences, the speaker will say, does that make sense? And if they don't go into another style, sometimes that gives me an indication that they might be auditory digital. And trust is huge for them. If they've been betrayed for a few times with something, they will just end the relationship completely because it's difficult for them to get their trust back. If you break their sequence, for example, like sometimes when I was coming home from my NLP training, I'd be so excited to share something with my husband. He's auditory digital, and if I just burst into the garage or a room wherever he was, and in my exuberance started to share something, I often didn't get the response I wanted. So I realized that I walk in, I calibrate, I check out what he's doing, what's his sequence, and then I say to him, is this a good time for me to tell you something? And then he'll either say yes or no, or in fact, sometimes it takes him like 5 seconds to even answer because he's so in his head processing my question. So if you want someone that's auditory digital to speak to you, to have a back and forth conversation, you may often have to ask them a question, because if you just say a statement, they are just listening. They feel there is no need for you to respond. So ask them a question or ask them what they think.
So something
and remember,
like.
Pardon me.
So something like. So what do you think about that? Or what are your thoughts on that? And then that's when they'll give you an answer. But yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about with some of my friends that are like that. It's like, okay, comment. It's like, oh, is that a question? It's like, oh no, you only do questions. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they only do questions.
I've got 2 auditory digital women friends, and my one friend Jan, it's just a dialogue back and forth. I say something and she'll say, oh gee, I want, what was that like for you, or whatever, back and forth. I have this other friend, and when I say something to her, she just looks at me and blinks and either smiles or whatever. Like I have to ask a million questions. And when she explains something to me, she never tells me how she feels about it. There's no words of emotion. These are the facts. So
you would notice that missing. You would notice that missing because that's your main style.
That's right. Yeah. She's just giving me the facts and the figures and the details and the data, and I can jump to any conclusion I want with how she experienced it.
Okay, we'll carry on. And we're going to just so people know, we're going to let them back on shortly, because I know some of them have questions, and I'm excited to hear about how they're relating to the information. So just people know that we're going to get them on the line soon.
Okay. So I'll give you some affirmations here for auditory digital. I love the new thoughts that I'm now thinking. They're the best and support me in manifesting my desires. Something along those lines. So we've got new thoughts, thinking, and the word best. Another one is, I'm in the process of taking the steps, so there's that sequence, towards my absolute knowingness of abundance. Because auditory digital style has a profound sense of knowingness. They don't know why they know or how they know, they just know something. And then one more, the universe knows my desires and is lining things up for me right now. You can also start your affirmations with, I have decided. I love knowing. I love remembering.
Now, my friend Jeff that I hike with every day, so he's auditory digital, right? So the way he expresses stuff, he does all the things you're talking about, but when I want him to talk about, when I want him to raise his vibration around something, I always say, tell me the parts that you like best. And he loves that question because now he gets to sort all kinds of information, because they love to sort it. And he said, what do I like best? Well, I like best that it would have this in it and this in it. Oh, I would like this would be best. And in other words, he likes to prioritize stuff because it gives him a chance to sort information. Or I could say, what did you like least? He'll like that just as much. But that's how I get him to talk about his desires, is when he sorts it for me.
Right. And sometimes they'll talk about something that's right or wrong.
Yeah.
They could say, what's right for you about this?
Or they use the word perfect, too. They'll say, that would be perfect. Now, I don't use the word perfect, but perfect means everything's lined up and all the T's are, that's very auditory digital, isn't it?
Right.
All that sequence and all the steps were followed and everything's correct.
And they've got all their little ducks in a row. You
Yeah.
hear them use that term a lot?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Good.
So you want to bring people back on the line?
We can. Welcome back, everybody. You can press *6. It's a good time. We're going to do some question and answers around the two subjects today, which was kinesthetic and auditory digital that Linda presented to us today. You're welcome to come back and join us. Who has the first question, and what's your name? Okay. Maybe I need to unblock them. Just wait.
The conference is no longer in lecture mode.
Okay. There, I think we're back online. Is somebody there with us?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Thanks for your patience. Okay, you can just state your name first and ask your question or make a comment. Maybe what did you like best, or how do you see yourself implementing this information? What excited you today? Who'd like to make a comment? Who'd like to go first?
This is Becky. When you were talking about the nesting and the tote bag, oh my gosh, I have dozens of them. I go to a meeting and I have everything in there, like you talked about the water bottle and the sweater and the notepads and the markers in case I need to highlight something.
The different color pens?
Oh, yes, absolutely. And I have a dozen pencils that are really sharp, and I usually have an extra chair to put my bag on or to stack my things on if I want to look for something.
Yeah.
So everybody knows where you're sitting.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, good.
If they need something, they know where it's at, too. They can get it from me.
Yeah.
That's right.
Little supply cabinet. Thanks, Becky.
Right.
Next.
Michael, this is Carol. I was laughing so hard when you were laughing at the affirmations.
Oh, I know.
As she said them, I was like, oh, that's so me. And then you were laughing, and I could hear my husband laughing in the background.
Yeah, I know. I could have put myself on mute, but I had too much fun with that.
That was great.
It was a real testament to that fourth style that we have, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I don't have any feelings. I mean, I'm not used to using those words. Like they were so they sound so theatrical to me. It was funny. Great. Who wants to make a comment or question?
This is Joyce.
Hey, Joyce, welcome.
I'm Auditory Digital.
Yes.
And
this is Joyce, and I'm Auditory Digital.
well, I had to identify that.
Yes. So you found you matched lots of the words and the styles?
Yes, I do like those affirmations.
Yes. And do you like to be asked questions or do you just naturally would join in conversations and so on?
I often join in, but I ask a lot of questions.
You ask a lot of questions, yeah. Well, they like to know everything. They like to know lots of stuff, auditory digitals. So maybe that's where you're getting that. And
I always attributed it to the fact that I'm a teacher.
Oh, really? Maybe you're a teacher because you're auditory digital.
Yeah, that's probably it.
With a little bit of kinesthetic sprinkled in there, I'm sure.
Yes.
Thanks, Joyce. Next.
Hi, it's Tracy.
Hey, Tracy.
Hey. It was really interesting, Linda, when you talked about trust with auditory digital, because I'm visual, auditory digital. Kinesthetic was third, and I know, I go with my bags. I got a lot of kinesthetic going on. And yet the auditory digital, in terms of asking questions and needing to be asked and all of that, it just made me think that that's something that I kind of developed over time, probably when I was really young, from a place of needing to get to know and to trust and that kind of a thing. So does that happen, or does that, here's my auditory digital question, does that make sense?
It makes sense to you. I'm sure Linda has a good answer for you.
Yeah. Well, you could take two people that have the same style, but they have their own personal life experiences. So they will react a little bit differently and be triggered by different things. But there is often that underlying thread, that there's that common theme that will always be the same. One style being more apprehensive around trust. Like kinesthetics, for the most part, are very trusting, and especially a kinesthetic like me, who I'm auditory digital in the last position. I mean, I don't even question whether somebody's going to be honest or not. I just assume everyone would be. You know, especially in my earlier years, and now, now I'm a bit more discerning about that.
And I know my friend Jeff, who's auditory digital, I often hear him mistrust the future. Well, I wonder if I'm going to get a contract next year. I said, that's next year. Like, in other words, he's not in the moment. He's more in the future, worried about the future.
Well, they have a really strong need to know about their personal future.
Yes.
More so than the other styles. You're right. Yeah. Good.
Well, good. I'm very excited about the upcoming classes, and ideally everybody that's been on, these first two classes, we've been a half hour. I know I built them as 15-minute classes. I know some people are listening while they're at work, so I appreciate you being here. And for everybody else that had the full half hour, I'm glad that you're here too. Linda Story, you have done an awesome job. We are going to pick up the next 2 days this week and bring you some new exciting stuff and how it relates to law of attraction. I'm going to encourage everyone to take full use of that library and make sure you've downloaded them and stored them on your hard drive and listening to them and all that other great stuff. Let's say goodbye, everybody. I'm going to stop the recording, and we'll stay on for a couple of minutes if you have any questions. So let's say goodbye. Bye, everybody.
Bye, Michael.